Self-approved. Attorney ad litem, independent administration, and another self-approved. Well, Mr. Dowden self-approved. We can do Mr. Dowden and Miss Petzik first. They're both self-proven.
I don't have a no, Mel.
That's the
Huh?
one we were just working on, the paperwork.
It's a muniment.
That's the one we just changed the proof out of.
Oh, with Elena Gilham? It's not Larry, it's Elena
Oh, really?
Gilham.
Shows.
This was my first time to do it as my.
Her first docket.
I need a little tutorial.
Ooh. No, I'm sighing
I have one
because my
You got a poison ivy.
my poison
Oh,
ivy
no.
is itching.
So let's see.
What do you need?
Me.
Okay.
Hey.
Would you ask Maria if she'd run over to Employee Health and see if they could grab me a Claritin?
Okay.
Leslie, I called Leslie. She said it'd help with this poison ivy.
Oh. How you gonna do that?
I don't know.
This is it. One more. They're all dated and, if you don't
70
mind.
years.
Ms. Gilhane, do you know what your client is under on the, thing?
Like trying to log in.
Or she can't?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Just turn up volume. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry about my voice. I don't know. Have they logged on yet? Can you tell?
It's gonna be, Donald Wayne Gribno, right?
Well, I believe someone is helping him because he's not familiar with Zoom, but I'm not sure who it is that's helping him. Should I try and get a name?
See if I can do it by, Cynthia Perkins.
On that Wendy Price, they waived annual accounting, so I don't know what was in the estate that they didn't. It was probably just a social security or something.
Why did we remove the prior guardian? Was it failure to file an annual report or?
I thought this is the one where she was meeting. Remember, and I think we have to. I thought it was Nick Lawrence, actually. I thought that was this.
Yes, Cynthia Perkins is the individual who is helping Mr. Gribnaw.
Okay. Thank you.
You are very welcome.
Hey, Ms. Perkins, can you enable your video? If you,
Well, that's what I'm looking for.
okay, I don't know if you have a touch screen or if you have a mouse, you'll need to hover down at the bottom left side of your screen to enable video. What kind of device are you on, Miss Perkins? Oh, she disappeared.
I believe she's on an iPad.
Okay, she should be able to touch screen down at the bottom left-hand side to enable her video. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Hi.
My new friend.
How are you?
Good.
Now I can see you.
Ms. Perkins, can you hear us?
Yes,
Okay. You're on an iPad?
yes.
It should just be, have you ever done it on an iPad, Melissa? I have, and it was just, there you are.
Or
There you are. Okay, so Judge has stepped out for just a moment. He'll be right back in. Okay?
Okay. Hello, Mr. Gribnaw. It's good to see you again.
Good, thank you.
Haven't seen you since soccer games.
Exactly.
Thank you for helping, Cynthia.
All right,
Okay.
Donald Wayne Gribnaw.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Gribnaw, if I could get you to raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call should be the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, Mr. Gribnaw, I'm gonna hold up what purports to be the last will and testament of Julia Ann Gribnaw. Do you recognize that as being her will?
I do.
And I'm gonna take some of your lawyer's time today because it makes it easier. We're on Zoom. I'm going to the signature page and ask you, is that your wife's signature on that document?
Yes,
And to your knowledge, after the date she made this will, which appears to have been on July 6th of 2011, did she ever change it or revoke it?
no, sir.
Okay, go right ahead, Ms. Gilhane.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Gribnaw, is it true that Julia Ann Gribnaw died on March 13th, 2023 in Beaumont, Jefferson County, Texas, and that she was 70 years old on the date of her death?
Yes,
And so it's true that 4 years have not elapsed since the date of her death. Is that true?
yes,
Let's see. And do you believe that no necessity exists for the administration of this estate? Is that true?
yes,
And after the date of the will, is it true that no child or children were born to or adopted by Julia Ann Gribnaw?
yes,
And no marriage of the decedent, I'm going to call her the decedent moving forward. Is it true that no marriage of the decedent was dissolved after the date of the will?
yes,
Okay. And is it true that the decedent did not have any arrears in child support?
yes,
Is it true that you have personal and full knowledge of the financial affairs of the decedent? There's no necessity for the administration of the decedent's estate because there are no debts owed by the decedent that are not secured by liens on real estate.
yes,
And is it true that citation has been served and returned in the manner and for the length of the time required by the Texas Estates Code?
yes,
And have you ever been, oh, actually, I'm going to skip those on my original. Pardon me, Your Honor. Do you declare under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you've given here today is true and correct?
yes,
Okay, Mr.
Thank you.
Gribnaw, so I assume you have been provided with a document called the proof of death and other facts?
yes,
Okay, have you read that document?
I have.
And everything contained in that document is true and correct and within your personal knowledge?
It is.
Okay, so you're gonna make arrangements to sign that document before a notary public, get it back to your attorney, who will e-file it with the county clerk's office. When she does that, I'll sign the order admitting your wife's will to probate as a minimum of title, and then your lawyer can guide you through the rest of the process. So if y'all need anything else, feel free to contact me, but I hope everything goes well, and I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Y'all
Have-
have a great rest of your week.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
No, it's gotta be signed by notary.
Okay, so, Keswick is self-approved.
Don't have anyone on. I'm gonna go Gordon and see who this is. Can you see who that is, Fred?
Hmm?
Can you see who these people are?
Do what?
See who these people are?
Okay, are you, the West?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Everybody?
so you are Miss Pesic?
Yes, Judge.
All righty. Who's Ronald and who's Donald?
I'm Donald. I'm Ronald.
Good. Okay, so one of you lives in Fredericksburg, Donald, I guess, and the other one
Yes,
lives.
sir. I live in Fredericksburg. Yes, sir.
Hadn't been through Groesbeck since I went to Baylor Law School.
Really? Hadn't changed much.
All right, if each of you would raise your right hand. Do you and each of you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call should be the truth, so help you God?
I do. I do.
Okay, I'm gonna short circuit your attorney because we're doing this by Zoom. I'm gonna hold up what purports to be the last will and testament of Laura M. West. Y'all recognize that as being her will?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, and I'm gonna go back to the signature page and ask you if you recognize that as being her signature on that document.
That's her signature.
Okay, and to your knowledge, after the date she made this will, which appears to have been done on December 23rd of 1997, did she ever change it or revoke it?
No, sir.
Okay, go right ahead, Miss Bessie.
So gentlemen, I talked to you about this. I need to ask a few questions. And Judge, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
And I'm going to ask you a series of yes or no questions. And only one of you needs to answer, but you can both answer if you'd like, okay? And we're here today for the estate of Laura M. West. And did Mrs. West pass away on or about March 31st, 2024 in Jefferson County, Texas?
Yes.
And at the time of her passing, she was a resident of Jefferson County.
Yes.
And the judge has just shown you her last will and testament, which you identified. And to your knowledge, did she die without revoking that last will and testament dated December 23rd, 1997?
Yes.
Were there any children born after the execution of the will?
No.
At the time of the execution, was Mrs. West over the age of 18 and to your knowledge of sound mind?
Yes.
Was she divorced after the signing and publishing of this will?
No.
Have 4 years elapsed since her passing and the date in which the application for probate was filed?
No.
Is the state of Texas or any charity to inherit under the will?
No.
At the time of her death, did Mrs. West own property in Jefferson County, in value of excess of $1,000?
Yes.
Are there any unpaid debts owing to the estate of Mrs. West?
No.
Does the will that we just confirmed appoint you, Donald West, and you, Ronald West, to be co-independent executors of her estate?
Yes.
And finally, is there a necessity for the administration of this estate?
Yes.
And Judge, a couple more questions to qualify the witnesses. Gentlemen, are you both residents of the state of Texas?
Yes.
Have you ever been convicted of a felony or a crime of moral turpitude?
No. No.
And to the best of your knowledge, you're over the age of 18 and of sound mind.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay, so, you each have before you what's titled of proof of death and other facts?
Yes, Judge?
Okay, have both of you read that document?
Not.
This is what we went over in the paper.
You went over all the questions in it.
Yeah.
Okay, if everything contained in those documents true and correct and within your personal knowledge, you can sign those before a notary. Ms. Pesic will then e-file that with the Jefferson County Clerk. When she does that, I'll sign the order admitting the will to probate and authorizing the issuance of letters testamentary so that you can act on behalf of the estate, sell real estate, deal with financial institutions and so forth. I have a guide that we're going to email to Ms. Pesic to give to each of you that explains your duties and responsibilities. Make sure that y'all cooperate with her in doing an inventory. The estates code requires an inventory or affidavit to be filed within 90 days of the date I sign the order. And other than that, I know she'll guide you through the process. So, Ms. Pesic, I understand that Judge Stroher retired. Is that correct?
He did. We have Judge Jones now.
Who?
Judge Jones, Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I haven't met him yet. Is he performing judicial functions?
He is, yes, sir.
Okay, so.
He is actually
an
an attorney. He is an attorney. He is out of Montgomery County, actually. He was an assistant county prosecutor there for a number of years.
Gotcha. Well, I have a place in Mason and just returned from there yesterday. And so I'm sitting here in pain because I got into some poison oak or something.
Oh, no.
I was out working. But we'll get those signed and you can just call me, Ms. Pesic, if you need anything further. But I hope
Thank you,
everything
Judge.
goes well.
Judge, one more thing. May I have them sign their oath and upload that as well?
You may.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
All right, y'all have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, Judge.
Take care.
Click if you want to switch to the video. Excellent.
right, Ms. Rankin, where's David Weisenbaker?
Mr. Weisenbaker is with Mr. Redline.
Okay.
He's the one with the beard.
Okay. And where's Emily Smith? There she is.
Here, Your Honor.
All right, if I could get the three of you to raise your right hands, please. Okay, do you and each of you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call should be the true self you got?
I do.
Okay, go right ahead, Ms. Rankin.
Thank you, Your Honor. We're here on an airship and an independent administration. I'll do the airship first. I will call Ms. Emily Smith to testify as our witness. Ms. Smith, will you please state your name for the record?
Emily Smith.
Thank you. And you are a cousin of the deceased, Norma Weisenbaker, correct?
No,
Okay. Can you
I'm a niece, a great niece. Is that correct? Yeah, she's my great aunt.
Okay.
Yes,
And you've waived your airship rights. We have filed that signed by you with the court, correct?
that's correct. Yes,
Right. So you knew Miss Weisenbaker as a relative throughout her life. Is that
Yeah.
right? All right.
that's correct.
And she died on September 4, 2023 in Port Arthur. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right. And to your knowledge, did she have a will?
She did.
She did.
No, not to my knowledge.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm tripping you up with my questions all the
No,
time.
you're fine. Challenge me. I like it.
All right. Now, Ms. Weisenbaker did have three nephews, David Weisenbaker, Robert Allen Weisenbaker, and John Vernon Weisenbaker III. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. And she did not have any children herself, either naturally or adopted. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And at the time she died, she was not married. Is that right?
That's correct.
Her husband, Bernie Clark, had predeceased her.
Correct.
And she never married anyone else and never divorced anyone. Is that right?
That's correct. I'm so sorry. I apologize.
That's all right. Now, you know David Weisenbaker, one of the nephews. Is that right? Is your
That's correct.
family?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, he is qualified to be an independent administrator of the estate of Norma. Is that right?
Correct.
Correct. Okay. And you haven't been promised any money or any sort of benefit for your testimony today, have you?
No.
All right. Thank you. I pass the witness to Mr. Johns.
Hi, good afternoon, Mrs. Smith. My name is Kent Johns. You recall we visited on the phone some time ago?
I do recall. Hi, Kent.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
You told me that your mother was Nell Weisenberger, is that right? Or what was your mother's last full name?
Mary Nell. I mean, I knew her as Mary Nell Smith, but yes, Mary Nell Weisenbaker.
Okay. And she was a niece to the decedent, Mrs. Clark, correct?
Correct.
And I had informed you that that you had an interest in the estate. Remember that? You waived your interest.
Correct.
You waived any interest that you may have in the estate. Therefore, you recognize that you had an interest, correct?
Before
You
I
can't
waived
waive
it.
what
I
you
guess
don't
that's
have.
correct.
Yeah, you can't waive what you don't have. Okay.
Right. I got you.
Yeah, okay.
I got
And
you.
we talked about your family, that there were three, you had three cousins who was David, John, and Robert, I believe. Is that right? David, John, and Robert are your
Uncles.
uncles. Okay.
That's
And
correct.
you're the great niece of the decedent, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And your brother is Shane, is that right?
I'll claim him. Yep.
Okay, all right. And he's also a great nephew of the decedent, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so it's on your aunt had no children, her husband predeceased her. So only its nieces and nephews are left. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And you did waive your interest. That means you understand that by testifying here, you also waive your interest in any funds or any assets or any debt. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, go right ahead with your next witness, Ms. Rankin.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll call Shane Redline. Mr.
Hello.
Redline, hi. Will you please state your name for the record?
James Zachariah Redbone.
Thank you. And you've heard the testimony so far, so we'll confirm that Norma Mae was your great aunt. Is that right?
That's right.
And you're Emily's brother, correct?
Correct. Yep.
So you have the same relationships with the family, just by way of being her brother, and you have the same parents, etc. Okay.
Right.
And you knew Norma Mae Clark throughout your life as your great aunt. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Yes. And so I'm going to ask you the same questions real quickly. She died on September 4th, 2023 in Jefferson County. Is that correct?
That's right.
And to your knowledge, she left no will. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And to your knowledge, she did have 3 nephews, David Weisenbaker, Robert Allen Weisenbaker, and John Vernon Weisenbaker III. Is that correct?
That's right.
And at the time of her death, she was not married. Is that correct?
Correct.
And her husband, Bernie Clark, had predeceased her. Is that correct?
That's right.
And she never married anyone else or divorced anyone, correct?
No, ma'am.
And you too have waived your heirship rights with a signed waiver, and that's been filed with the court. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. And you know David Weisenbaker, obviously he's sitting right next to you.
I know him.
And to your knowledge, he is qualified to serve as the independent administrator of the estate. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And you have not been promised any sort of monetary benefit or payment for your testimony today. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. I will pass the witness.
Shane, Mr. Redline, we spoke on the phone, correct, some time ago, correct?
Sir.
All right. And you told me your family history, and I advised you that your mother was would be a beneficiary or an heir of your great aunt's estate. Remember that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you have decided, and I think we may have talked twice. You called me back and you decided to waive your interest in the property. Is that right?
That's right.
That there was some debt on the property and some other issues, and you wanted to help your family resolve those issues as quickly as possible, correct?
That's right.
All right. And you talked about your uncles, John, David, and Robert. And so those are the only uncles you have, and your sister Emily is the only sister that you have, correct?
That's right. Yep.
You don't have any knowledge about any outside children that your great aunt may have had.
No, sir.
Okay. And nobody else that you may know of that claims to have an interest in her estate.
No, sir.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, you may proceed with Mr. Weisenbaker.
I call Mr. Weisenbaker.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Weisenbaker, will you please state your full name for the record?
David Walter Weisenbaker.
Thank you. And Mr. Weisenbaker, you are a nephew of Norma Mae Weisenbaker Clark. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you knew her throughout her life. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And she did pass away on September 4th, 2023. Is that correct? In
Yes.
Port Arthur, Jefferson County. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. There is a court reporter that you don't see that's taken all of our stuff down.
No one requested a record, so.
I won't make any more jokes.
So to your knowledge, did Ms. Clark leave a will?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Now, you have been familiar with the estate. You've visited her home, looked through all of her bills and whatnot, and her assets. Is there a necessity to administer the estate?
Pardon me?
You've determined that there's a necessity to administer the estate. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. And again, at the time that she died. Norma May was not married. Her husband had predeceased her. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And she was not married at the time, correct?
Yeah.
All right. And you are qualified to act as an independent administrator of the estate. That's correct, right?
Yes.
All right. I pass a witness.
Mr. Weidenbaker, have you been provided with a document called proof of death and other facts?
Correct.
Pardon me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, have you read that document?
Yes, sir.
Is everything contained in that document true and correct and within your personal knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Mr. Redline and Ms. Smith, you should have a document called affidavit of fact concerning the identity of heirs. Y'all will sign those before a notary public. Mr. Weisenbaker, sign your proof and your oath before a notary public. Return those to Ms. Rankin. She'll e-file those with the county clerk. When she does so, I'll sign the orders, the judgment declaring heirship and the order authorizing administration. We did have consents from the other two brothers, didn't we?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and Mr. Johns, did you have any questions of the applicant?
None, Your Honor, none whatsoever.
Okay, all right, thank you for your time. I'll wait. Mr. Weidenbaker, make sure that you cooperate with Ms. Rankin in doing inventory. The day I sign the order, you're gonna have 90 days from that date to file an inventory with the court. And she'll explain to you what that involves, but don't be late or I'll have to remove you, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all have a great week.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, bye-bye.